There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Grundy. I'm the Senior Director for Product Management here at Amperity. And I've been with the company for about 4 months, so go easy on me. Wanted to see by a show of hands here kind of who's in the room. So those of you who have a marketing bent to your job, can you raise your hand? Okay, a lot of you. All right. Those of you that have a technology bent to your job, raise your hand. Lots of other folks. All right. And everybody else who didn't raise your hand now. All right. There's some of you too. Okay, good. All right. So it looks like a pretty good, healthy mix of marketing and technology folks. I'm here with my colleague, Grundy, and we're going to present to you some thoughts about our roadmap going forward as the main topic today. I hope that's why you're all here, right? Thumbs up? Thumbs up? Yes. Okay, people nodding. So the agenda is pretty straightforward. We're going to talk about the keynote a little bit and try and tie the products and the product names to the things that you saw this morning, so you understand like which products play in which part of the keynote and how they look in the live world. Then we're going to talk just for a second about our development themes and how we think about our development process. And then we're going to tie the products back to those themes so you can see how they all relate together. And then we got time for a Q&A at the end. For my part, we have a half an hour break after this one, so if anybody wants to stay and ask more questions, Grundy and I will be here. My boss, Grigori, is in the corner over there, so we can probably answer between the three of us most of the questions you have. And we have a special guest here, Bryce, raise your hand, from our engineering team that can also help us with questions. So fire away as we go through. I want it to be as interactive as possible. Questions so far? All right. So the keynote, you'll remember from this morning, this is Susan and her husband, Jack, right? And Jess was our marketing person, right? So we're going to talk about their lives and what was happening. In the story you heard this morning, right, there was a lapsed customer, Susan, and she was a high-value customer and a champion. So she had been on 6 trips already with AMP Adventures. And she was excited again by seeing an ad in Pinterest or Instagram or wherever she was. She went through, she signed up to go on an adventure to Hawaii with her husband and then bailed out at the last minute. That was kind of the end of Act 1. Act 2 was about how they converted her, right? So they sent her a text message. The text message had an offer in it. When she went back to the site had all of her information there, and she was easily able to answer some questions via a bot and then purchase the trip. In the background, Jess was orchestrating all this, right? And she was tracking what was going on with the campaign to make sure it was going successful. As part of that tracking and reporting, she built out reports and presentations in Copilot with Word and PowerPoint. And so that was kind of the baseline story. And so now on the next slide, I want to talk about how those things relate back to the products that Amperity is offering, right? As you all know, Amperity made its name on Stitch. So 45 patents all in one little area about how do you create IDs. We're hands down the best company in the planet to do this, and our patents prove that. So on top of that now, we have this new AI product that we offered today called Recommended Actions. And you saw it in action this morning, and we're going to talk about it again in a minute. But basically, it goes into that data set, it looks for opportunities, and surfaces up an analysis. Now, that analysis is actually based on 10 years of history of our analytics team going out into our customer base, doing analytics on their data, and then bringing it back to them. So if you're an Amperity customer, you may have had a visit from one of our CSMs or even our analytics team, and they probably brought you some insights. That same knowledge, that same understanding of the last 10 years is what we've baked into this product that's called Recommended Actions today. So in the scenario that we had, it surfaced this analytics. Jess saw a problem, which was, hey, our champions were, 250,000 of them were churning, and she decided to do something about it. So the Recommended Actions product basically has what they call a playbook, which is like if you want to do something about these things I found, here's some ideas about what I can do. And one of those things was to run a campaign for these high-value people. So she clicks on that. There's a bunch of insights. She decides to run the campaign. What's happening in the background there when she clicks, okay, let's push this into a journey, is the recommended actions product is actually pushing a prompt to our other AI product that we're introducing today, Customer Data Assistant, that's been out there for a little while. And that AI is using the prompt to go build the journey, right? So now we're into the third product here, Customer Data Assistant, right? And it's an intelligence system that you can ask questions of, but you can also build out journeys with. So that Customer Data Assistant uses our journey tool, right? Obviously, because it's a journey, to build it out. And then Jess went into that and looked at it. Maybe she made some tweaks, maybe she didn't, and then launched the campaign. The campaign is what actually triggered the ad that started the process that Susan saw, right? So that's that first act. Susan saw the ad and then clicked through, right? So last piece, site personalization. So Susan went to the website, she scrolled through, she found the trip to Hawaii, right? And then that whole experience, as you saw, as Kate and Grigori were explaining, right, builds and builds and builds the profile further as she clicks through the site and does things. So that's our site personalization product that's helping that along. Questions there so far? Because there was a lot of talking. Everybody's nodding? Yes, thumbs up? Okay. Second step. The conversion part, right? So there's a lot of things going on in the background here. The one I'm talking about now is predictive models. So in this particular model, what we know from history and the predictive model is that Susan likes text messages or responds best to text messages, but Jack likes email. And so because Susan was the one that was on the site, they wrote to Susan with a text message and not an email. And so you're using the predictive capabilities in conjunction with the journey, right, to drive the process. So there's a trigger, because she puts things in her cart, there's a 15-minute wait, and then they send out this text message. Hey, don't forget about us, you have this great thing, here's an offer. She goes back to the site, using the site personalization, all the information is there, right, of her trip that she wanted, the dates that she wanted. Now her loyalty is all there. They're showing points. In this particular case, the offer might have been, for example, oh, we'll give you 3x points if you sign up today, because we know that Susan loves points. Then she talked to the bot, right, Fritz, the bot, and Fritz knew exactly where she was in her funnel, right, because the site is tracking what's going on with our help. And so Fritz can talk to her and say, hey, how are you? I see you're looking at this thing. It seems like you're stuck. What questions can I answer for you to get you over the hump and buy this thing? And she asks a couple of questions, and then Fritz can actually book the thing for her. So when that happens, when the purchase happens, that's going to trigger another confirmation, right, to Jack and to Susan. Jack gets an email with the confirmation information. Susan gets a text with the confirmation information. And as soon as that happens, it triggers suppression. Because what you don't want to do is continue to spend money on advertising for somebody who already bought your product, right? And you don't want to bother them with email because they already bought your product. So there's a double kind of trigger that goes on there, and that's part of that journey. Clear so far? Okay, last one. This is the background, what's happening in the background. So Susan is using Customer Data Assistant to check every day when she wants, hey, how's my campaign going? You know, what's the uplift on it? Am I getting to the right place, right? The answer is yes. And then she needs to, I think Kate was talking about, she got a call on Friday afternoon and needed to present on Monday morning. And so she used a third-party LLM, in this case Copilot, to create a document that she could turn into her boss, and then a presentation that she could do in the monthly business review, right? And all of that is using our MCP server. It's called the Amperity MCP server. And that's probably one of the most exciting things today in my mind, because it opens up the ability for all the knowledge that exists inside of Amperity to be used by many people in the company, even if they don't know anything about what a CDP is, right? So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. And then in the monthly business review, there was the IT person was sitting in the back, and they got all worried about their amps usage, right? So am I using too many amps? Is this campaign hurting me? What's happening? And so you can use this AI tool called Amps Insight to drill into your amps and understand what's happening in the moment. That's the end of the connection part. So what's important here is the product names and how they relate to the thing, because now we're going to talk about each of the products and kind of how they work and that kind of stuff. I understand you guys just had a real-time presentation. That went pretty well, I think. That was pretty well attended, at least. All right, so development themes. There's 5 development themes. Pretty straightforward. Agentic marketing, you heard all about this morning. Right message, right moment. This is really about real time, right? How do we make the right message in the right moment happen? Then you got best of suite. Best of suite is really about a closed loop system so that the system learns from itself. Then you got self-service. Self-service could be using our AI because it makes it easier to use our system, but it could also be improvements to our own UI, like we're going to put some in-product guidance in there, for example, right? Use the AI to help you use our tools more easily and simply. And the final one, works where your data lives. This is about our efforts to integrate with our data lakehouse partners, Databricks, Snowflake, others, and the connectors that we have out into your data set. So this is kind of like how we're thinking about the world inside of Amperity, and how we bucket our efforts are in these buckets. And as you can imagine, there's money in each one of these buckets and engineering effort against all of them. So let's talk about the first one or two, and then I'm going to hand off to my colleague. So in pillar number 1, we had agentic marketing. So the first one, which I believe you have heard about this morning, right, is all about recommended actions. Let's see if this little pointer is going to work. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Up here? Okay. So up here, these are segments, right? They're segments of their customer base that they have defined. And what you get in a snapshot is, okay, what's happening with my segments, right? There's a line that goes up or down to tell you whether it's going up or down, and then there's some numbers that tell you like how it changed. So you can get in one view exactly what happened, right? Oh, this is how my customer base is changing today, right? So then this tab right here, this is the analysis tab, which is what you're looking at down here, which is, hey, we've taken this 10 years of our analytics team of analyzing all your data, and we've put it into an AI system. So now we can take all that knowledge of how to analyze data sets and bring you back information. And in this particular case, it's talking about the lost champions that Susan was part of. So then you click on this thing right here, which is the playbook. And the playbook says, hey, you saw these problems in the analysis that we did. If you want to do something about it, here's some ideas that we have about how you might be able to improve your growth or your profitability or both. And so the top one, the top one here is all about the lost champions. And so she clicks on that, and she gets this particular view, which says, you know, this is some insights, who these people are, and why we got into this situation, you know, our best guess at why the situation evolved. And this is the impact. If you ran this campaign, here's what we think might happen from a financial standpoint. And so she looks at this and says, okay, I'm going to make a bunch of money back. And she says, yes, that's this button here. You click this and you say, okay, yes. And it flips you over into the customer data assistant, right? So the customer data assistant, you'll remember, is the ability to query. So you can ask the customer data assistant anything you want about your customer data, and it will answer to you. But it also has the ability to do things like build journeys. So what happens is, as I mentioned before, that the recommendation assistant moves a prompt from itself to this product, and then the customer data assistant builds a journey based on that prompt, right? So this is one agent working with another agent to build your journey. Is that clear? Yep. Okay, people are nodding. So then, I guess I should go back and say, so then this goes into the, hello, there we go. So that moves into the journey, and then she can look at the journey and decide whether she's going to approve it or not, right? And tweak it and do whatever. This is our normal journey format here. That's what that's showing you there. And on the left-hand side here is, this is the customer data assistant. So if you don't like it, you can tell the customer data assistant, hey, change it like this, or you can just go in there and change it yourself if you want to, right? So you can do it all through the dialogue, or you can do it through actual drag and drop. All right, like I said, for me, one of the most exciting parts of the announcements today is the MCP server. For anybody that's not close to the server world, what this thing does is it's basically a go-between, right? So you have, all this knowledge in your CDP, and then you have these super powerful LLMs out there, and you really wish that the super powerful LLMs could use all the knowledge that you've learned about your customers that are in your CDP, right? And so now we put this little box in between those two that allows them to talk to each other, right? And that's what the MCP does. It's like a translation layer, right? So it enables all the knowledge that you have to be used in other places. And those other places could be anywhere, right? We saw the example today, it was with the Copilot, the Microsoft Copilot, but it could be any of the other LLMs that your companies are using today could access through this open protocol called the MCP server. Questions about that? Yep.
So what is the impact on your AMPS usage?
Well, you're going to use AMPS, right? Because it's talking to your CDP, right? But it's not massive because it's mostly using the calculations you've already done. So most of the lift with your CDP, with Amperity, is like, I think, 20 or 30, maybe even 40% of it is the stitch, right? The actual creation of the IDs itself, and they're already created.
So can you measure that separately? You know, how it has the different database?
It's the next slide.
Oh, okay.
AMP Insights, with AMP Insights, which is the next slide, I think, if I remember right, you can now query and say, hey, how much of my usage is coming from this place or this channel or this connector or wherever, right? So you can drill down and find out how much is this campaign driving, how much is this connector, how much is the MCP server using, right? That's the whole idea behind the AMP Insights, is that it gives you guys the power back to know exactly what your system is doing and where you're using your AMPs. Make sense?
We see that today, but we don't see it specific to a campaign. Like we see it specific to segments or queries or database regeneration.
Yeah.
So
It's evolving.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, predictive models. So this was the text messaging that we did for Susan, right? So Susan, we know, loves text messaging, and her husband, Jack, loves email. And so because Susan was the one driving the bus when they made the purchase, then they did all the communication with text messages. We have a number of predictive models in place and more on the way. And this is just one part of our AI strategy. If you think about what an LLM needs to do a really good job, it needs super solid data. Hey, where do we get really super solid data from? Oh, I know, Amperity. And then you need some ML or predictive capability about like, what is this person going to do next? Or what's the predicted lifetime value of this customer? How important are they to me, right? And those kind of calculated fields are all happening with these predictive models, right? And so if you have those two things, you can do a lot of work with your customer base because you know who they are and you know probably what is going to happen with them.
So
Yep.
predictive models will be on our enterprise data platform, or
The ones in green are already there, so you can turn them on today. And there is a, let's say, resurfacing of them. So we moved them around inside of the tool so they're easier to find. And those have been there for a little while, and we'd love to show you how to set them up. And the other ones are coming in a couple of months. Yep. Any other questions? Yep.
This morning I have seen a feature, bring your own storage, right?
It's coming. Yep. That's in the fifth pillar, which is about the lakehouse and how we integrate with lakehouse and connectors and stuff like that. And we're still up in the first bucket, which was the AI part, right? So all these things I've been talking about, these are all different parts of our AI strategy, right? And how different users, the IT team versus the marketing team, are all versus everybody else in the company, how they all can utilize AI to help leverage their Amperity data.
What about bring your own model?
That's right.
Yeah, bring your own model is part of the presentation when we get to Lakehouse.
All right.
But it's not just the predictive models. That's something
Yes.
that we're absolutely aspiring to enable you guys.
Yes. Coming to a theater near you. Good question. Oh, another one? No. Scratching your head. Okay. Very good. All right. AMP Insights. Who was asking about this? There we go. No, you were asking about this. Right, Kim, right? So AMP Insights. AMP Insights is a different analytics tool, AI-based, that is just natural language. So, hey, in this particular case, I'm the IT director. I'm worried about my AMPs usage. You know, what's been my average usage for the last month or so? And boom, it says, oh, $12.95. That's how many AMPs you've been using every day on average. And it gives you a rundown here of, this is the split out of how it's been split out.
That today, but I thought
Yeah.
you meant we could look
So
at
now you can ask the next level down,
Let's go.
right? But I don't have a slide for that, but that's what happens, right? But we can. I think you can demo it. I think it's on the demo site. If you go to the demo site, they'll show it to you.
Gotcha.
Right, that's the whole idea. Is now you can keep asking questions. Oh, show me, for example, this is your connectors and how much how much amperage the connectors are using, and you can say, hey, show me a breakdown by connector of how my amp usage is happening, right? And it'll show you how that works.
The top 10.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Compare how many, I don't know, amps you use for running this campaign versus this one. Like you can literally ask all kinds of questions about the performance of the
Thank you.
platform using naturally.
Thank you, Cooper.
Yep. It's awesome. We use it internally too.
In fact, we started using it internally and
Right.
realized that there's so much value that we can expose to
Right.
that.
Why did this customer spike yesterday? Oh, okay, it's because they did this thing. Oh, okay, let's call them and ask them why that's happening. Right? That's how it started. All right.
It can help to estimate as well. For example,
Well, it'll give you historic numbers. It doesn't have a forecasting capability, but it'll give you like, show me. You can say, hey, show me amp usage for by quarter for the last year, right? And it'll show you like what the pattern was, and you can guess based on your seasonality that it probably will look like that next year with a slight uplift, right? So yes, you could use it that way. It won't forecast for you, but it'll give you the data to help you forecast. Good? All right. Any other questions about AI before we move on to real time? Okay. So I know you guys just had a whole session on this, so I was not able to join that one. I was busy talking to somebody, but I'm sure you were in good hands with Raul. And oh, you weren't part of it? Okay. Oh, TK was. Okay, very good. All right, but I wanted to explain a little bit about the technology part of it, right? So the core of it is what I've been calling a real-time engine, right? So you imagine that you have this huge investment that you've made in your CDP, right? And it does this amazing stitch process, and now you know your customers really, really well, and you have this gold mine of information, but it's from yesterday, right? So the way the stitch process works at most of our customers is it runs overnight, and then the marketing team comes in the morning and they start using that data. But that means as soon as the day starts, it's outdated because your customers are actually still buying things and still doing things. So wouldn't it be nice if that data set kept getting updated? And that's what the real-time engine does. So it takes that data set from the customer 360 that you've built and spent a lot of money doing, and that's the starting point from the day. But during the day, there's streaming events coming in from wherever, purchases in store, wherever you're streaming your events from, and the engine is making decisions based on those events. So if you do something that like changes your loyalty or changes your segment or any of those kind of things that happen based on what's happening during the day, the engine makes those changes. And then you can take action based on that. And the action you can take is, one, you can better personalize your website because you can just pull that data back out and put it into your website, or you can trigger things like suppression or email or text messages or whatever. And so this is kind of the core of how this product works, is this combination of the big batch lift that everybody knows and loves, plus now the updates during the day that allow you to take action based on whatever just happened. It's today's intent with, in many of our customers' cases, 10 years of history, right? And now you have the best of both worlds. Is that clear? That's the concept. And now the products are Abandoned Journey, which is basically our trigger activation product. So you can imagine this, it's like, if this happens, do this, right? So somebody purchased today, and so they change loyalty tiers and send them a new email welcoming them to their new loyalty tier, right? Or they bought something today, and I want to send a thank you note for whatever that purchase was. Like, so this happened, and therefore this happens. And that's what trigger activation is. This is something close to the journey that they mentioned this morning, right? So Susan put something in the cart, and they waited 15 minutes, and she didn't do anything, and so they sent her a text message, right? And so what you see is here, there's something happened in the cart, wait for 15 minutes, okay, talk to her again, now wait for a day. If she doesn't do anything, then there's some choices that happen down below. But you can kind of funnel that out and see what happens, right? So this is the scenario that Susan went through unknowingly on her part. But this is how Jess set it up. I think you guys went through this in the last session, right? So I won't spend a lot of time on it. All right, site personalization is the other one. This was lots of fun. This thing, can you see this over here? This is the kind of debugger that we built to kind of show everybody how the product actually works. But what you're seeing, from this morning's presentation is that the information that's in the profile in your real-time engine is being transmitted to the website, and then the website is using that information to personalize not only what's on the page, but also the special offer that they made to her. Right? In this particular case, she was booking economy, but we know that she's a luxury traveler, and so they knew that, and they offered her an upgrade to do luxury travel instead of economy, even though she was looking at the economy stuff. Right? So it's that kind of intimate knowledge of the customer and what they actually like versus what they're looking at that enables you to personalize even past your regular product portfolio into specialty products that usually have a much higher margin. Questions? Yep.
I was curious if this experience is modal type banner pop-up experience. Is there a concept of in-page personalization as well?
Oh yeah, that was happening on top of that, right? So if you remember, when she came back to the site, right, she clicked through from the ad, from the text message. It was already pre-populated with the trip that she wanted, the dates that she wanted, right? And it was already in the cart for her. Right, so really all she had to do is click yes, right? And that's all because you could personalize based on the information that we had stored about what she had already done, right? You saw it building somewhere in here. It talks about she wants to go to Hawaii here, and that she's a luxury traveler somewhere. And so it repopulates the page, the regular page on top of that. And so the point I was making was, in addition to that, right, now you can also do these special upgrades on top of that, right? Or whatever your version is in your industry. So you're not only capturing the business, but now you can also do the upsell in the same motion, right? You don't have to go back and have another campaign to do the upsell. You can do it in the process, right? Less friction, more movement.
So the real-time profile and your batch profile or stitched profile are both bringing that data through an API call to the website?
Right. Right. So you can imagine, big picture wise, you have your customer 360, which is, you stitch your profiles and then you add all your attributes to it and you get your customer 360, right? And then when that finishes running, you dump a copy of that into this real-time engine. And then as the day is going, you're adding to that profile during the day. And then the website can pull from that and personalize the website. So if you from the website to the real-time engine, right?
Is there any latency calls because of that? Are you seeing any?
It's like milliseconds. So No is the answer. And you're going to learn in one of our other slides, we just opened a data center in Australia because real-time latency is a problem when you go across the pond. So it needs to be in your region of the world, and so we moved data centers, so we have data centers all over the world to be able to service your customers wherever they are. Other questions about real-time before I go on? All right. Multi-stitch. So I think this is the last slide in this one. So multi-stitch is the ability to have two graphs based on a single data source. And where this has been requested and used by our customer base is in kind of paid media versus things like loyalty, where exactness matters. So if you're talking about paid media, you want the biggest reach possible. I want to talk to the most number of customers because I'm trying to drive my top of the funnel, right? We have cases where at some customers, this number is like 300, 400,000 people. And then the other graph is like 120,000 people because it's now deterministic and very, very tight, right? And so your different parts of your marketing team actually have different needs. I actually just finished a conversation, that's where I was before this one, talking about this exact thing. It's like the problem they brought to us was, hey, I've done this great thing with my probabilistic. It's very tight. It's been the same for many, many years, and we're very happy with it for this particular set of users. But I have this other set of users that want a totally different graph. I'm like, well, then you need to go back and talk about what ID is for each of those user sets, and then you can use this capability to give each of them what they want, right? So one is basically optimized for reach, and one is optimized for precision. Good? Okay. Now, I'm going to bring up Gernot. Gernot, tell us about pillar 3.
Thank you, John. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, too close. Okay, I'm really excited to talk about our best of suite pillar and the self-service pillar. When we talk about best of suite, we refer to a full range of capabilities for the modern marketing team. So one of those key capabilities that I want to talk about today is measurement. Measurement, first of all, that's important because measurement closes the gap between the spend and what you can prove. Better data means better AI, better campaigns, better optimization by our marketing teams. The first product which got into journey goals I want to talk about, that got into the product in February, or we launched it in February. That now allows you to see which journey path drive business outcomes, and you can optimize while the journey is still in flight. You no longer have to wait until a campaign is done. The next piece is closed loop measurement. We added data pipelines for Google and Meta to bring data back into the platform automatically. For closed loop measurement, we started with Google and Meta. We're going to expand to other channels, more paid channels, and we're going to add own channels as well. Campaign optimization is something you should really lean into. This one sends offline conversion data back into your downstream ad platform, so you can optimize so those platforms can optimize, and it really helps your return on ad spend. So those three capabilities are in the platform right now. And the next one, we talked about it earlier today, audience monetization. Your first-party data is one of your biggest assets. We allow you now to monetize first-party data in a globally compliant, completely privacy-safe manner without ever sharing any PII. We launched, so while we always supported in-house retail media networks, lots of our customers used Amperity data to do that in-house. We now support a first-class integration into third-party marketplaces, and the first one is the Trade Desk. With that solution, you can now create custom audiences for one-to-one brand partnerships and monetize the data with a specific brand partner, or you can create syndicated audiences where you can monetize it in a public marketplace and really scale your monetization strategy. The next pillar, which I'm really passionate about, to really support every user in the platform. whether it is through AI or better UI, we really want to address the self-service capabilities. A year and a half ago, we launched Quick Start. Some of you might have onboarded with it. It allows you to add data, resolve identities, check results, generate customer profiles. In short, run Stitch on day one. AMP Insights, John talked about earlier already. You can now go in and see what really drives your AMP consumption. That's a highly requested feature by our customers. That's a new feature as of our most recent release. On the measurement and optimization side, I want to get back to that for a second. We're not just bringing data back in. We're going to make it really easy. We're going to allow you to, with one click, to bring data back in. And we're going to drastically improve the way you can set up conversions to send offline conversions back into your downstream platform. This is coming very soon. And lastly, I'm really excited to announce that we are launching Amperity Home. It's a new launch pad. When you log in tomorrow, or tomorrow afternoon, you will see a new landing experience. And what this does, for the first time, you can see what connectors are getting added in real time, what capabilities are getting added. You get notified of releases right when they happen. You can align your organization around KPIs that are to make sure you all drive toward the same goals. AMPI is front and center. Use it to ask questions of the platform, how to use features, explore it, create segments, create journeys right there. Tenant health, one of our most requested features. Every customer wants to know when something is wrong. So at a glance, within 5 seconds, you're going to see a tenant health score. In the Getting Started section on the right-hand side, it shows you a list of all the available features. It groups them by foundational features, building value, and then mastering in terms of what features are you not using, what should you be exploring. And if you mouse over, there's a little AMP AI help icon. You can use the AI to explore what the feature can do for you. It just helps you get to value faster, and new users get onboarded quicker. Yeah, that's it for those 2 pillars. Back to John.
Thanks, Gunnar. All right, we got 1 pillar left. Our friends in the back are already signaling we're running out of time, so we might go a couple minutes over, and I'll apologize ahead of time for that. If you need to leave, it's okay. So, works where your data lives. This is one of the ones that people were asking about early on. This is really about our data lakehouse integration strategy and our connector strategy, and how connecting with your data and making it as easy possible for you to work with your existing data is what this is all about. Right, so first one is data lakehouse. Bring your own compute. You may remember that we launched Bring Your Own Storage last fall. So already for Databricks and Snowflake, if you want to use your storage capacity in Databricks or Snowflake, you can do that today with Amperity. Last spring, thank you. Okay, so sometime before I got here in January. The point was, this is a journey, right? So getting to lakehouse integration takes time, and it takes lots of integration work. We started with the storage. Now we're announcing the compute. So you can do all your Stitch compute, all your queries, everything like that. You can use the compute from your existing data lakehouse. And to tell us all about that, we have a little video for you.
Welcome to Amplify 2026. Amperity Bridge gave you the pipes for zero-copy data sharing. But true data sovereignty requires full residency. Many of you already rely on Bring Your Own Storage to keep files secure in your own cloud. Today, we are thrilled to announce the missing half of that vision: Bring Your Own Compute. BYOC perfectly complements BYOS. Together, they shift Amperity from a third-party vendor into a core, internal enterprise capability. It operates exactly like a tool your own team built, powered by our world-class AI. Let's see it in action. Here on the Quick Start dashboard, the process begins with custom domain tables. As a table is authored to transform incoming data, the underlying SQL query executes transparently against your own Databricks serverless warehouse. This is pure zero-copy architecture. Amperity comes to your lakehouse. Your data never leaves your cloud. You manage the encryption keys, network rules, and access logs, ensuring absolute data sovereignty without a separate vendor security audit. As custom queries are authored in Amperity, Their execution is fully traceable directly within your Databricks query history. Running these workloads inside your own account unlocks massive compute efficiency. You can utilize your pre-purchased cloud credits or reserved instances to power the processing. This entirely eliminates brittle ETL pipelines, treating your lakehouse as the single source of truth. In the past, segmenting high-value customers meant relying on external data movement. Now, as this segment loads in Amperity, multiple concurrent queries are instantly dispatched to your Databricks SQL warehouse. This delivers intelligence at the source, in the now. You get immediate access to Amperity-derived insights, owning the compute resources that handle massive burst processing seamlessly, without multi-tenant hardware constraints. When identity resolution is required, a Stitch job spins up a dedicated, on-demand Spark cluster directly within Databricks. Exploring the Databricks Spark UI reveals complete metadata transparency and auditability. Your data engineers have full visibility into CPU utilization, container memory, and JVM heap usage. They can see exactly how every customer record was transformed, keeping you audit-ready using your own cloud logs. Finally, the Customer 360 database generation job coordinates parallel processes natively on your serverless warehouse. The cluster automatically scales as needed, building out comprehensive data models that instantly populate back into the Amperity application. Complete control over your data, zero movement, unmatched efficiency. Bring your own storage gave you control over your files, and now bring your own compute for Databricks and Snowflake completes the picture. Get ready to secure your ultimate data sovereignty.
3. Data center, we talked about this one, right? So Amperity runs a global business. We have a big business in Australia. And so now because of this topic and because of the importance of our customers down there, we launched a new data center down in Sydney. This will help not only with the local requirements, but also help with our latency issues and making sure that the real-time experience in that part of the world is also awesome. Connectors, I think you guys are probably all familiar with our connectors, right? We have over 100 connectors. We're building more every day. And if you need some more connectors, let us know. We have a member of Granat's team that their sole job is to get connectors built. So let us know what you need and we'll put them on the list. Yes, sir. Are these real-time connectors? Some of them are and some of them are not. So if you have, especially if you have new real-time connectors, if you want to jump on the real-time train, please come see us right away. We'd love to build some real-time connectors for you. We have a bunch of them, but not all of them yet because it just launched. Yes?
I just want to confirm, we have Adobe connecting the WebSDK signal, through WebSDK or the real-time events from the web.
Adobe is one of the ones we support today, yes. In real time. All right, the road ahead. So today, we talked about a lot of products, right? We've been here for almost an hour. And all these products are in some various forms of being rolled out, right? This includes the customer data assistant, the recommended actions product, the predictive products are already out there, the Amperity MCP server. If you want to jump on that, please let us know right away. We're looking for more people. Amped Insights should be live, I believe, today or tomorrow, if it's not already. And the homepage, I think, is also live right now. The new real-time products in terms of abandoned journey and site personalization are there. If you want to work with us on that, we'd love to hear from you. Multi-Stitch has been out already. The audience monetization and paid media are also there. Amperity homepage we talked about, and the data center's live. Next up, as you can imagine, more AI, right? And so there's a bunch of predictive stuff. We're working on the AMP agent that you heard about this morning. It's going to take a little while to get that fully built out, as Grigori was explaining this morning, but we're looking for customers to help us define that product and build it out farther. There's been a number of questions about our continued data lakehouse strategy, right? And so here you see Databricks and Snowflake. We have the Azure fabric that's coming. We're going to figure out what's going on with BigQuery, and your bring your own model is also in the works. So that's kind of where we are for today. Want to make sure that There was a number of exciting things that we talked about today. If there's something that you're interested in, our goal, at least my goal for the session, was to get you guys excited about some of the stuff we built. If you're excited, go talk to your account team, go talk to myself or Grigori or Granat, anybody. We'd love to hear from you about it. If you want to get on the early access list to try some of these products, please let us know. If you want to help us even further with the design partners, we usually partner with like 2 or 3 of our customers to build out these products, because as was explained this morning, we don't want to do it in a dark hole. We want to do it for real people with real customers and real problems. So we're always looking for 2 or 3 people to partner with on these new products. So if there's something that's interesting and you want to come help us build the bus, we'd love to hear from you. And with that, we'll ask for questions. Oh, I'm supposed to tell you to give us feedback on the session too. Right. Rule gets bonuses on how many people get session feedback. So make sure you do him a solid there and help him out. So other questions? We've had a lot of good questions today.
Obviously, I understand you're tying it back to the AMP ID or whatever the recognition ID is. When you go to site, are there any conflicts with like privacy settings if you can't track that person on site? Like, do they need to be logged in?
No. So the question is really, I think that you're asking is about what's the tag that's coming from the site, right? So with the customers that are testing it right now or working with us right now or using it, we're using the Adobe Experience Manager tag, right? And so that's what we get, and then we get a series of events on that tag. And what we know is once they log in, that this tag is associated with this ID, and then we merge all that together so you have a single profile again on the real-time side.
What if they don't log in? Like, is it?
Then it creates an AMP ID. As soon as you get a second event, it creates an AMP ID, and then that ID exists. And then if you come back tomorrow, for example, and you log in tomorrow, we can still associate that stuff from yesterday with the login. So we're keeping all that information per session, or however AEM does their, whatever tool you're using on the site side, whatever that increment is, we just keep that on our side and it has an ID on it.
I just had a follow-up question on that. Like, say for example, I come today, there is a signal you created an anonymous AMP ID.
Yeah.
And tomorrow it become a known and it will type a known customer. Then what is the final AMP ID? Is it the AMP ID will change?
No, because you logged in, right?
I mean, if I move from unknown.
It has an ID already. The first day it gets an ID.
But if
When the merge happens, does it keep your?
Oh, you're talking about a batch ID?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Bryce?
So the way it works is that you'll get, if we can't figure out who you are, you'll get an AMP ID. Oh, thanks. So the way it works is if we can't figure out who you are, you'll get an AMP ID from your anonymous session. And then the batch process that does Stitch overnight is going to evaluate for every data point that we have, what's the best cluster, what's the best AMP ID for it to be associated with. So it might be that we think it's best connected with one graph one day, and then we get more information that actually says that that activity, the data that we got, is better associated with a different graph. So that actually happens every day as part of that batch process. And then the view of the profile is unified. So if you have some product categories you were interested in from that anonymous session, and you had some product categories you were interested in from your last purchase, we can use both of those data points in the attributes.
But does your
That means there will be two AMP IDs?
No. They would be joined as part. They would be merged as part of the Stitch process.
It's merged to your batch one, not the.
Yeah, that technology is called Stable ID. It's actually one of the first patents that we had. So it uses the best Amperity ID, which is typically like the longest living Amperity ID.
Sorry, this GA, real-time matching.
Yes, or like June 1st, or I think is the date that you gave.
But by the time we get implemented, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Does that answer your question? Yeah, okay, good.
Do you have an issue with just collecting a lot of anonymous records from this technology?
We don't, like, that's, no.
It's not an issue.
Like, in terms of like storage capacity,
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah, or just like, just having this huge group of people that you can't activate on because you don't know anything about them.
Yeah, but you can, if they show up again, sometimes you can use that information to help personalize, right? So that's what we were trying to show this morning. Even if you're an unknown user, if you come back, we may be able to recognize you and start to personalize even without knowing you. So we can't text message you or email you or do anything, but we can help you on the site, right?
You don't know what you don't know.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we're good, but we can't like create, customer contact information out of the sky. So great set of questions. Anybody else? Yep, got one in the back again.
You cannot action on them, but you have the capability in Amperity to be able to create a segment. Can you not create a segment out of these real-time captures?
You could say like, all the anonymous people that love adventure travel, make a segment out of that, right? And it'll put them all in a group, right? For example, right? So you could do that, yes. You could define a real-time segment that way.
And you can personalize based off that.
Yeah, and you could then only show them adventure travel if that's what was their bucket, right? So you can do that even with the unknown people. So it works more or less like the known people, just you can't do anything other than personalize the site, right? Until they tell you something else about themselves or log in. Yep.
Currently we have it's a challenge on our side basically. Currently we have a challenge to understand explainability of a profile.
Explainable.
Like if there is a profile,
Yeah.
to understand explainability why this fragment belongs to that profile.
Yes.
I think that there is a challenge.
Ask the customer data assistant. It will tell you how the customer's profiles are built, right? Yeah.
That is Amplify, right?
Or go to the graph.
Right.
And see the strength of each connection.
Yeah, so there's a part of the tool that will actually, you can go to that customer and it will show you, here's the 6 clusters that we think are all part of that person, right? And it shows you actually the strength of each connection. This is a super strong, we're very sure about this, we're very sure about this, we're kind of sure about this, but we think this is all one person. And there's a graph in the tool that will show you that. Yep, go ahead.
Have you seen the Stitch? Have you seen the Stitch benchmarking at all? It's one of the capabilities to identify some like common issues where things are over clustered or under clustered, and that's all been GA like I think a year ago or 6 months ago or something like that, where you're able to proactively dig into some of the problems that you might run into, and like why are these two things connected in the first place, and optimize and get your Stitch results better and better by getting closer to baseline.